What's up, guys? Mike here with Crazy Cyber, and today we are going to be replacing the battery on an Acer Aspire 5 laptop. Guys, so here is the story. So I wanted to get a cheap laptop that I could set up either some sort of Apache server or Windows XP virtual machine on my home network in order to practice using Metasploit and the various modules with that, and just learning and seeing if I could advance my skills. So I picked this Acer up for $50, and it does not stay on without the charger plugged in. And whenever you come across that, 9 times out of 10, it's a bad battery. So what we are going to be doing today is we are going to be replacing the battery in this Acer Aspire 5 laptop. I also have a RAM upgrade and an SSD upgrade on the way. So we'll just go ahead and make those separate videos. So without further ado, let's jump right in. Guys, so in order to exchange the battery on this Acer Aspire 5 laptop, you are going to need 100% required, you only need one tool. You're going to need a precision screwdriver with a Phillips head 00 bit. That is the only required tool to do this job. Optional tools that will make you do the job better and safer in terms of maybe snapping clips or opening it more gently and properly. You'll want some sort of thin plastic tool, which is typically, this one here is typically used to separate phone screens and cut through the adhesive so you can remove the screen from the phone. And the reason for that being is on pretty much every modern laptop, in addition to the screws that are on the back of the laptop holding the cover in, there are clips that clip into place that hold the back onto the laptop. And that's just going to allow us to pop those clips out as gently as possible to avoid damaging them or breaking them off completely. This is another option for that type of tool. This is a plastic pry bar. This came in a phone screen kit for a Samsung Galaxy S22. They are extremely cheaply available on Amazon. All of these products will be linked in the description. In addition to them being linked, this particular screwdriver set will be available for purchase on my website, crazycyber.com. And this kit I really like because, just some background. I was a mechanic for 5 years before I broke into the tech field in cybersecurity. I was teaching myself to code at nighttime after work, but the moral of that story is I'm extremely OCD about my tools. I need to have them all organized, all perfect. I would show you my toolbox and you'll believe me. Literally everything is organized like OCD to the max. So this kit, as soon as you're done, pop it back in. Extremely organized, well put together. This flips in and out. The case slides on, and then I got everything always. I'm never looking around for bits or trying to remember where I put it. They're always together. And that's something you kind of want to look for in tools. So these are tools that I'm going to be using. Most likely I won't be using the pry bar, I'll be using this, but this screwdriver or a screwdriver with a Phillips head 00 bit is the only required tool in order to do this job. But we're going to start by closing the laptop, and we're going to be flipping it over. So for the orientation, if anybody's following along and maybe you don't really do anything with hardware, or you're new to this or whatever, we're going to be doing this in the orientation where the hinges, the part where the screen hinges, is facing towards the back. And that's going to be important because the screws at the back and on the sides and in the middle here are longer than the screws here. And that is important to note because you can damage threaded inserts or you know, if you put a screw too long in here, you might crack or break something, and we are going to put it back exactly how the manufacturer assembled it in order to avoid any problems or issues that might arise. Right, so that's enough of that. So now we're going to begin the removal of the back cover. We're going to take off the screws. The screws are located 4 across the back, 2 on either sides, 1 in the middle, and 3 here. So we're going to go ahead and remove those now. So when you're doing this, you're going to want to keep the screws organized because, like I said, they are different lengths. One thing you could do is something I used to do when I used to work on cars is I would get out a piece of white paper and write down the location of each screw and just put that screw by it. I've been fiddling around with hardware for a long time, so I don't really need to do that anymore. But if this is your first time doing a repair like this, it is certainly helpful. Kind of makes it so that, you know, you can't really mess it up even if you know, completely lost track of everything and forgot everything. One good thing about this screwdriver is the magnet is very strong. As you see, I keep trying to have to like flick it pretty roughly in order to get the screws out. And that helps a lot with both putting them back in and taking them out of these rather deep pockets where the screws are countersunk to be hidden. Yeah, like I said, magnet's pretty strong. Okay, so now I'm on the side here, and we only have 3 more of the larger screws, and I'll show you the size difference in a minute. There's one here, and one here, and those are the only large screws left. So we're going to go ahead and pop those out. You want to apply a little bit of pressure, but I mean, bear in mind that this cover is plastic, so you don't want to absolutely crank down on it when you're trying to get them out. You could crack the plastic. I've seen that happen before. Okay, so I am just going to grab all of my large screws because I remember where they go, and I'm just going to put them in this square right here. Okay, that screw's from a different job, so ignore that. I'm waiting on parts, so it's still taking apart. That one must have fallen. Alright, so now I'm going to put the small screws right here, and I will go ahead and show you how much bigger and longer these ones are, just to show you that, you know, the size difference. Okay, so as you can see, the one on the right is significantly longer, as well as being a larger threaded diameter. So if you forgot where this larger screw went, you would, like, if I tried to put it in the hole that I took the smaller screw out of, you could destroy the threads in here, right? You could, it's what we know in the mechanic world is called cross threading. So you could destroy the threads in here and make this insert unusable, which would, once we pop, this is being held in by clips and also the remaining 2 screws, but this clips in here, right? But it's not incredibly strong. So once you take it apart, you know, that could potentially, if the threads in here are destroyed and it's not held in by the screw, you could leave an area for dust to get in here, and we want to try to avoid air or anything coming in through the laptop besides the specific ventilated holes, which usually have some sort of filtration. So, last 2 screws. Then we will go into the process of popping this thing off. I'm most likely going to use that guitar pick looking tool, just because the pry bar is cool, but I use that mostly for phone repair. Just did a screen replacement on my S22 Ultra because I was at the gym and it fell out of my pocket and I dropped an 85-pound dumbbell on it. So typically when that happens, phone's completely destroyed, but somehow it really only kind of just cracked the screen a little bit. Alright, so all the screws are out. Now I will take my plastic pick and kind of just work it in there. Sometimes there's specific spots where you're supposed to kind of put this where it'll fit in better. There, like right there. See there, it just slipped in. And then just pry. You can hear those clips release. And don't be super scared of it. You know, these cases are designed to be pressure fit in and kind of pop up like this. But if you're having to put like a super large amount of force on it, kind of disproportional amount of force, you probably forgot a screw or something. So then, boom, the lid's off. Okay, so now we're going to pull this off, and we have access to our internal components. Okay, so now this is our battery, as you can tell. This one, it does not look absolutely terrible. It's not puffed up or expanded or anything crazy, but I mean, it's still obviously perfectly capable of going bad without it, you know, expanding. So as you can tell by here, the battery is connected to the motherboard through this connector here. We're just going to remove this tape, and we're just going to use our plastic pry bar tool. I mean, you could easily use that guitar pick tool as well. And we are just going to catch the side here. And we're just going to gently work this out, because electronic components, always better to be slow and gentle than fast and rough. That's what she said. Okay, so that's released. And then the battery is held in by 2 screws, one here on this side and one here on this side. Okay. I'm going to start with this one. It still takes the same Phillips 00 bit. As you can see, these screws are different from the other ones as well. Not just by color, but most likely by length. So I'm going to go ahead and throw those right there. Magnet helping me get it out and not drop it on the motherboard. Okay. Yeah, guys, just a common sense tip. When you're doing this, don't have like a massive glass of water next to you or anything like that, you know. Don't do it in the middle of like a dust storm, or, you know, just common sense stuff. Okay, so now that we have the battery mounting screws out, the battery will just lift out of place. We can go ahead and take that out. And you can see that this is our spot where we put the new one. It's always a good idea while you have it apart to go ahead and clean the inside. Because I have the RAM on the way, as well as the new upgraded SSD. This is the M.2 SSD slot right here. This is the RAM. We are going to be putting off the cleaning until I swap those other parts. So for right now, we're just going to swap in the new battery. So I am very impressed by this battery. I ordered it off of Amazon, but it's packaged nicely. And it came with 2 rather cool screwdrivers. And but when you're doing this type of stuff, you know, you can never have too many screwdrivers. So that's pretty nice. Just in case, you know, if you don't want to spring for the full set. If this is a Phillips head 00, see if it has a marking anywhere on it. Okay, that's actually a Torx bit, which is weird. Okay, that's interesting. These are both Torx bits, which the battery does not use Torx head screws to secure it. But regardless, 2 free screwdrivers, and I will go ahead and link them in the description. So now, here's another tip, right? So now that we have the new battery, just to make sure, we are going to match up the old battery on top of it, just to make sure they're exactly the same. And yep, that's square there, that's square there. Cables are in the same spot, so that's, you know, that's good news. We used to do car parts all the time. So let's go ahead and we're going to get this battery seated in the location. You can line it up by, putting these holes right above where you see here where the threaded insert is. And just make sure it's seated properly. You can see it has these corners here for it to butt up against. We want to make sure everything's clean. And just double, triple check everything, because we really only want to have to do this once. Okay. So now I will take the battery connector and we're going to see if it's keyed. Keyed any type of way, because we don't want to install these wires backwards. So the thing that we wanted to double check, right, is we see that these wires all have different colors, right? They are, if my camera will focus. So you see the two: red, white, yellow, green, blue, black, right? This is the old battery, and you can see the orientation of the cable. And we see that red's on the right outside. So we're gonna put this to that, and as you can see, it's kind of set up to go the opposite way. So just pay attention, make sure you put things in the same orientation. Now, I've been doing stuff like this for a while, so if this is your first time upgrading your PC or changing your battery, it's always smart to take a picture of the connections before you remove them, so you know exactly how they were supposed to go. So we're going to go ahead and lift this battery up. We're going to pull that tape back to where it was. Again, we're just trying to put it exactly how the OEM manufacturer had it set up. So we got that there. Okay. Now I've got my holes lined up perfectly. Now we're going to fasten down. We're going to secure the battery with the two screws, and then we're going to manage these cables right here, just because the other one was nice and clean and that looks sloppy. So we're going to find a way to route these cables to where they're more organized. And we see we got that tape that was securing the old cables, so we're going to use that as well. So we're going to take our screwdriver. We're going to set the first one in there, and then we're going to go ahead and crank it down. Sorry about my filming, guys. Normally I would have a tripod set up, but I accidentally left it at a buddy's house, so gotta go grab it. Okay, so now we're going to manage these cables, which might be kind of hard to do with one hand, so I might have to put the phone down, or maybe not. Okay, so I don't like this excess that this battery has that the OEM one didn't, but it's insulated and it's not... It doesn't appear like it's touching any of the solder spots on the motherboard, so that'll be okay, but not the best. Not the best fit. I'm gonna probably find a different battery and link it, because stuff like that really bothers me. I'm super OCD about cable management, and that's going to drive me crazy, but it is what it is. Okay, that is good enough for the purposes of this laptop, or just to be a hack the box laptop. So while you're in here, you know, you can take a look at your fan. You know, this laptop for 50 bucks, I mean, it looks extremely clean in here. I mean, I've seen some pretty horrific stuff when it comes to laptops, but this one looks really good, especially for $50. This was clearly kept on a desk or something and not used on the bed 1,000 times a day. Looks like we have another expansion slot here for a standard size SSD. That was probably an optional extra. Wonder if we have another connection here somewhere. But yeah, so there you go, guys. The battery is in. Now what you would do is you would just go ahead and take this cover, right, in the same orientation that it was when we started, and we're just going to clip it in, right? Watch, listen. And again, not using a ton of force, just kind of some firm press, excuse me. And if you have to really crank on it, something is not lined up properly, and you're going to break the clips or damage it. So now comes the point where I'll tell you guys again, just for the thing. So these screws here, right, the 7 screws, they go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? Everything from this, about the bottom of this label, back, big screws. These 3 up front, small screws. Okay, I currently right now am not going to put these screws back in because my SSD and my RAM are going to be here tomorrow. Right, so there's no point, but I will turn it on and I will show you guys, you know, it being off the charger. Okay guys, so here we are after the battery's been put in, the new one's been installed obviously, and the bottom cover is back on the PC. As I mentioned earlier, I left the screws out because tomorrow we're going to be putting in the RAM upgrade and the SSD upgrade. So, moment of truth. And there she lives. As you can see, there's obviously no charger. It had a fresh install of Windows. So like I said in the beginning, what we're going to be doing with this PC is we are going to be installing Linux and most likely a vulnerable version of Apache in order to get some Metasploit practice and compromising systems and just continual practice with Nmap. Just getting better and better, constantly improving skills, constantly learning new techniques. And that is the purpose of this laptop. So, as you guys can see, it works. I hope this video helps somebody out. If you want to see the upgrades of the RAM and the SSD, be sure to subscribe and like. And that is going to be the next video in the series on this Acer. After the RAM and SSD upgrade, I'm going to be making a tutorial on how to install Kali Linux onto this PC, and that video, the process will work with pretty much any laptop on earth. So if you are interested in Kali Linux and learning how to install it, and the best part about it is it's open source and it's completely free. So unlike Windows, you don't need to pay somebody $20 for a product key every time you build a Linux machine. So, I hope everybody enjoyed the video. I hope you guys had an awesome day. And stay tuned because I have some information on the next build. And this build is going to be insane. So here are some of the parts for the next build that's going to be featured on the channel. This build is going to be insane, and I am going to just kind of run through it real quick. And if you're interested, subscribe now, because you are not going to want to miss this. So this build is going to be a dual AMD EPYC 7551 dual CPU, 32 cores, 64 threads per CPU. So total, this build is going to have 64 cores and 128 threads. It's going to have over half a terabyte or 512 gigabytes of Micron registered DIMM memory. I have more of it on the way. It's going to have a 1 terabyte 970 Evo Plus SSD, as well as an external 4 terabyte Samsung SSD. And the best part about this build is it is going to be a 100% custom designed open chassis with a custom designed hardline water cooling system that's going to be designed and built all by me. I will be building the chassis, fabricating everything, welding everything, painting everything. And I am just so excited for this project. This is going to be the most ultimate build I have ever undertaken in my life. And I've built probably 20, 30 PCs at this point. And I'm just so excited for this project. All of the water cooling parts are going to be on AliExpress. I'm going to be custom designing the loop that's going to go over both CPUs and the GPU. You'll have to stay tuned and subscribe and check out the next video to see what GPU we're going with this. It's nothing unnecessarily crazy. The only thing that this PC is going to be doing is going to be a P2P or P2 pool XMRig miner. So this computer 24/7 is going to be running the CPUs at 100%, mining the cryptocurrency Monero or XMR. That is the only purpose of this. I'm debating whether or not to add a second purpose, which is going to be a home NAS, because as you can see, I have a 12 terabyte hard drive disk right here, and I'm debating whether or not, to put that to use. I'm not 100% sure that's going to be included yet, but if it is, I think I'm definitely going to add some NAS functionality to it, but I don't know how wise that is, given that the CPUs are going to be constantly running at 100%. With over half a terabyte of RAM memory, I think the hash rate on this is going to be insane, especially given that the cryptocurrency Monero, when you are mining, it's not a GPU mined crypto. It only mines using the CPU. You might be able to set it up with the GPU. I'm not 100% sure on that. I think there's options for also mining with the GPU, but much less effective. So this build is just, I'm so excited for this, guys. And if you subscribe, you are going to, I'm going to be documenting and detailing the entire build process for this, down to the initial concept sketches for this PC. So if you're interested in seeing PC builds, this one is going to be absolutely insane. So if you're into this kind of stuff, you're definitely going to want to subscribe. And on that note, guys, I hope everybody has an amazing day. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I love this community. I love how people share their knowledge. I love that we all help each other get better and more effective, and we are just constantly evolving and developing all of our skills together. And the things that this community has created are absolutely mind-blowing, and I'm honored to be a part of it. So thank you guys for watching. So thanks for watching. If you made it to the end, you're definitely a real one. And like and subscribe if you guys want to see this build. It's going to be epic. Mike with Crazy Cyber, logging off.